Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel, The Rock and Metal Guardian. I'm Dane, your host. Hope you're doing great wherever you may find yourselves. Blessings to all of you wonderful people out there. And welcome to an episode I haven't done in a while, part of my playlist, Rock and Roll Cocktail, where I rank albums regarding a family tree of a particular band. And today's family tree is the Black Sabbath family tree. And I'm only going to rank live albums of the Black Sabbath family tree, so they have to be all Black Sabbath songs. So we're talking about the Ozzy era and the Dio era, respectfully. There are only 6 here, no bootlegs, so let's go ahead and get started. There are no stinkers or snoozers here, but coming in at dead last is the band Heaven and Hell. As you know, Black Sabbath is at one point in their career has both versions of the band going on at the same time, so you have the moniker Heaven and Hell for the Dio lineup. And again, there are no stinkers or snoozers, but I do have a few negative things to say about this. Overall, this is a good live album. It's not a great live album. And if we talk about the 2 CD set, you get E5I50 / After All the Dead to open up the set list, which I thought was a great choice. And then you get the Mob Rules, then Children of the Sea, Lady Evil, then I from the Dehumanizer album, then the Sign of the Southern Cross, Voodoo, good choice. Then you get an almost an 11-minute version of The Devil Cried, which was a single-only release from, I think, the Dio Years CD. Correct me if I'm wrong. Or maybe it was only digital download, something of that regard. Then Computer God, going back to Dehumanizer. Then Falling Off the Edge of the World, Shadow of the Wind, Die Young, Heaven and Hell, Lonely is the Word, and then closing with Neon Nights. A great way to end the album. Now, the problem I have with this album, and the biggest flaw on this album, is that when you get to the Sign of the Southern Cross, something that permeates the entire song is what I would call, for lack of a better description, a heavy metal version of the mouth harp. You know, the thing that Snoopy does in Peanuts, or the Cowboy Age, the Wild West. Certain people put the tongue harp in their mouth and that kind of thing. There's a heavy metal version of that, the sound effect that permeates the entire song, and I don't say it ruins the whole song, but the song loses its value because it's so obtrusive that it's hard to enjoy the song in a totally positive way because of that obtrusive instrument or sound effect or whatever is making that, causing that sound effect, if you will. All right, so and then the other complaint is that some of the tracks there's some tracks missing that leave this album a little to be desired. I would take Die Young off in the first place. I never was a big fan of it on here. What I would have included here is, I'm looking for it on the track, is I would have put Wishing Well instead of Die Young. It's more upbeat, and Die Young kind of ruins the flow of the tempo and the mood and the vibe of the whole album. So I would have put something a little more upbeat than Die Young. I would have put Wishing Well on here. I'm glad Lonely is the Word is on here. Now, as far as Mob Rules content goes on here, I would have loved Turn Up the Night to be on here. I would have perhaps opened with that, although I do like the way it's opened. It does open here, I mean. So Turn Up the Night is missing, and Over and Over is also missing. And I know what you're probably thinking. Well, Over and Over is very formulaic in the sense that it's very similar to Lonely is the Word. I still would have liked to hear it. I would have ended disc 1 with Lonely is the Word, and then put Over and Over in slot 6 on disc 2, and then Neon Nights to end. And at least you have Computer God and I on here from the Dehumanizer album. But I also would have put Time Machine on here. Those are the 3 big hits, at least for me. So again, not a bad album, but not a great album either. It's a good album, and I'll leave it at that. So a few tracks missing, I think. Coming in, so that was number 6. Number 5. Now I'm holding up an older version, but I'm referring to the best version of this live album, which is in my box set, which I didn't pull out, and that is Live Evil, the remixed, which many of us have agreed since it came out a few years ago is the best edition of. But here's the album cover, and you get Dio doing, some Ozzy fare here, like Children of the Grave, Paranoid, and War Pigs and Iron Man. And while not the best versions, I've warmed up to them over the years. I would say that I'm still not crazy about Paranoid, but I do like Children of the Grave the best of the Ozzy stuff here. But all the Dio stuff here is amazing, especially in the most recent mix. Again, you open up with E5I50, then you go into Neon Nights. You also have NIB and Ozzy Song. Children of the Sea is immaculate here. Voodoo is also splendid. Then you get Black Sabbath, and I think Black Sabbath is also, like Children of the Grave, one of the best Ronnie James Dio versions of the Ozzy stuff. So again, Children of the Grave and Black Sabbath are the best Dio versions of the Ozzy stuff here. War Pigs, Iron Man, and Paranoid being the other three. Disc 2, you get the Mob Rules, Heaven and Hell, which is just phenomenal. Sign of the Southern Cross / Heaven and Hell Continued. Small flaw of the album for me is just do Heaven and Hell by itself. Don't bring it back after Sign of the Southern Cross. But at least Sign of the Southern Cross here doesn't have that annoying tongue harp or mouth harp going on in the background, at least where it gets in the way. It's there, but it doesn't get in the way. It's very subtle. Then you get Paranoid, Children of the Grave, and then, of course, Fluff is a joke because it's just someone playing that over the monitors. It's not the band performing it. That's always been a stickler with the problem with this album. But anyway, here you go. Very good, borderlining on great album. So good, approaching, this is very good, approaching great. Next, getting to Ozzy, is the Reunion album, which I just love. Of course, you have a couple of new studio tracks at the end. Nothing wrong. And these are actually quite good. These are better than anything else on 13, I think. So you get War Pigs to open up an almost 8.5 minute version. Behind the Wall, Sleep, just over 4 minutes, is a nice treat. Fairies Wear Boots, wonderful here. Electric Funeral, what a great treat to have this here. Then you get Sweet Leaf, Spiral Architect, one of my favorite Sabbath songs, is also here. Then Into the Void, then Snowblind, then Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath to start Disc 2. Orchid, Lord of the World is phenomenal. Black Sabbath, Iron Man, Children of the Grave, Paranoid, and then you get the 2 studio tracks. Little caveat of mine here is that I wish there were more songs here, like some stuff from Sabotage, and maybe even a track or 2 from Never Say Die and Technical Ecstasy, and a song or 2 more from Volume 4, like not Snowblind. Let's see, I lost my train of thought in my place here. Snowblind's on here. If they had put Supernaut on here, that would have been stellar. And because Snowblind is here, as I said, track number 9. And had they put Who Are You or almost anything from Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath would have been a nice treat. Also, I would say, put Symptom of the Universe here. But it's not here. But regardless of, this could have been a triple album, right? That would have been great considering it's an important reunion. But this is a great album. I call this a great album despite that it's missing from just, my bias of the band, what makes their best palette of songs. It's my, my personal demon to deal with, so to speak. But yeah, it's still a great album. So Reunion, this is such a treat to have. So coming in at number 4. Number 3 is the Ozzy solo, Speak of the Devil, but it's all Sabbath, so I'm including it here. It's part of the family tree. And of course you get, because it's all written in circles, you get Symptom of the Universe, which is just amazing here. You get Snowblind again on this album. Black Sabbath, Ozzy talks about it. He comes up to the mic and talks about, this is the first song I've ever written in my life, right? It's great. Love Ozzy's endearing voice here in the banter between the crowd. Fairies Wear Boots is next. War Pigs is great here. The Wizard is a nice treat. Then you get NIB, which is amazing. And then Sweet Leaf. Then Never Say Die, which is a nice treat as well. Then thank goodness Sabbath Sabbath Bloody Sabbath, the title track from that album is here, and then Iron Man / Children of the Grave to close things out, and then Paranoid, I guess, is the encore. Yeah, again, like Reunion, there's some tracks missing, but what a great backup band for Ozzy in Brad Gillis, Rudy Sarzo, and the wonderful Tommy Aldridge on drums, the mercenary himself, on the drum kit. What a great album. So you have to include it here at number 3. Number 2 is from the Sabotage box set, the Black Sabbath North American Tour Live 75 Parts 1 and 2. This is fabulous. It's why you get that Sabotage box set, which I don't know if it's in print anymore. Opens up with I always want to say Superstars. It's Super Czar, then Super Czar / Killing Yourself to Live. This is fabulous, folks. Hole in the Sky, which is a heavy song. Great way to hook the crowd in after the opening track. Snowblind is great. Symptom of the Universe. So you get both of the 2 best songs from Sabotage here, which you don't get on some of the other stuff I mentioned. Then you get War Pigs. Megalomania is fabulous here. What a great epic track from the band. Sabracadabra. Jam 1, which includes a guitar solo, is a wonderful treat here. Then Jam 2, including a drum solo, is from Bill Ward, is fabulous. So you get the typical order of the day in the 70s, early and mid-70s here, a guitar and drum solo. Then you get Supernaut, which is fabulous, and Iron Man to close out the first disc of the live. Then you get a guitar solo to begin the next CD. Then you get excerpts from Orchid and Rock and Roll Doctor, so a little bit of technical ecstasy there, which is fabulous. Of course, the title track from the first album, Black Sabbath, Spiral Architect, is great. You get this here. Then you get the wonderful Embryo / Children of the Grave. And then to close out, of course, Paranoid. So yeah, this is so worth having from the Sabotage box set. And then finally, we all know the disaster, at least in America, of the NEMS version of Live at Last. And I've heard that the British version of that is good. Or it was on a different label, maybe Warner Brothers, I forget. But eventually, probably the best thing that Sharon did with respect to Ozzy and Black Sabbath is help put this out. And 2 of the tracks that are on the Sabotage box set live, I forget which 2, make its way onto this, but hey, I'm not complaining. And you got some of the tracks cleaned up from the Live at Last, which was just a solo vinyl release, which again, as I said, in America, which was just on the horrible NEMS label. But here, everything's been cleaned up. It's wonderful. It's polished, but still gritty. It's so heavy. You open up the set with Tomorrow's Dream, which is such a nice, pun intended, dreamy treat. Then Sweet Leaf, Killing Yourself to Live is amazing here. Then the 1-2 punch of Cornucopia and Snowblind from Volume 4, which is just wonderful to hear. Then Children of the Grave, War Pigs, Wicked World is a nice treat, and then closing out disc 1 with Paranoid instead of leaving it at the very end. Also a nice way to mix things up. Then you get one of my favorite songs of all time, Hand of Doom, and then Hole in the Sky. I love the Hand of Doom live here. So glad it's here somewhere in their discography. Then you get Symptom of the Universe, a great heavy song. So again, like the previous album, you get Hole in the Sky and Symptom of the Universe, both on the same live album. Those are 2 staples, I think. I hope that they play these for the upcoming shows in July. Then you get a nice epic Megalomania again, which I think is the same from this album that I just showed you. Then you get Iron Man. Then you get Black Sabbath. Then NIB. Then you get a wonderful treat in Behind the Wall of Sleep. Great live version. And then to close out the set and the night, with Fairies Wear Boots. I believe I got this from Amazon, but I remember back in the day. Remember when Best Buy sold rows and rows of CDs? I remember seeing this and I passed on it, and then a friend of mine said, you got to get it, and I went out and got it on Amazon, I believe, and you got some wonderful photos. And then here is Bill, and then of course Geezer or Terry in the 2 discs in between. So yeah, this is my favorite Black Sabbath live album of all time. It's a shame that outside of the bootlegs that there are, and there are tons of those, which I don't own any of those. It's too bad that they didn't go the Deep Purple route or the Rush route or the Steve Hackett route or Miles Davis route and release a ton of live material. Anyway, thanks for watching. Take care. Bye now.